friends on Sports 56. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Wolo.
Look up on the wall, there on the floor, under the pillow, behind the door. There's a crack in the mirror, somewhere there's a hole in the window pane. Do you think
Welcome in. You know, it's Fat Tuesday. Happy Mardi Gras, everybody. Nice to have you aboard on this overcast day. Supposed to get into the upper 60s tomorrow, maybe mid-70s. Holy mackerel, this is still February. We all love a great sports story, don't we? Landon Schmidt, you love great stories, don't you?
Oh, always.
How about brother and sister stories?
I have a big family, so that's right up my alley.
You know where I'm leading with this?
No.
Have you ever heard of the Heises?
Not ringing any bells.
Nate Heiss, his sister Taylor Heiss. Ringing any bells?
No.
Oh, good. I'll make your day. This all happened yesterday. Nate Heiss is a player for Iowa State, the number 6 team in the country. Boy, they've had a good week. They knocked off Kansas earlier. They're playing number 2 Houston last night. This game is incredible. It's all Houston. And guess what they do? I've seen this before. In fact, I saw it a day or two before, where Iowa State went on a 17-4 run at the end of the game for the Tigers. It happened in Logan, Utah. It was the end of the first half. 17-4 run. I think it was actually a 13-4 run in the Tigers case. But Nate Heiss hits a 3-pointer that is the go-ahead winner, and they win by 3. And they upset the number 2 team in the country, Houston. So great week for Iowa State, a great day for Nate Heiss. He's one of the big heroes of this run and of this upset victory. It's hard to say it's a real upset when you're at home. You're the number 6 team in the country, but the Cougars were number 2, okay? Hours earlier, in Milan, Nate's sister, Taylor, scored a goal to help the USA women beat Sweden 5-0 to get to the gold medal game. The Heiss siblings have one heck of a day. One gets to the gold medal game, the other upsets the number 2 team in the country, and he has the go-ahead big 3. How about that story?
How about that for an athletic family?
That is incredible. Speaking of athletics and families, and you're going to have to come in here to get this phone number because we did not touch base before the show. We will have Lynn Alford on. Lynn is the head of the Amateur Sports Hall of Fame. I will be emceeing that on Monday, March the 16th at the Hilton. It's always a great event. Tickets are still available. They got a new website you can get them from. They got a newsletter. Some really cool people getting in, like Rachel Heck in golf, Jimmy Ogle as a historian, Desmond Merriweather. You remember that name? He's the guy that literally got Penny Hardaway into coaching. We'll talk about all of those folks in just a little bit. I'm going to pause here for a second to make sure that I can get our friend Lynn Alford. He's calling right now, so you take that and get the number from him, and we will go from there. But he's going to talk with us here in just a couple of minutes. A couple of things to touch base with really quickly. The Cortez Braham out of eligibility right now, but not necessarily out of the litigious hot water. So the NCAA is saying this case is not closed, even though Cortez is out of eligibility. The Tigers played him. It's not over. there is a right of retribution or some term that allows the NCAA to still impose penalties? I think we're going to learn more about this. They could vacate Braham's numbers. They could vacate the Tigers' wins with which he participated. We've seen that before. They could make a financial penalty and impose it upon the school. So there's a March court hearing coming up. There will be oral arguments. And are there truly going to be ramifications after the fact? This was a court order saying he could play. That eligibility was actually granted to Cortez Braham before he became a Tiger. So the Memphis Tigers think this guy's got eligibility. You guys granted him eligibility, or somebody did. We're going to take him. And now the NCAA is saying, well, that was through the courts. We're not recognizing that. We think that more should be done because we think you played the guy illegally. What's going to happen to Ole Miss and Trinidad Chambliss? They went through a state court. The NCAA could make a very good case, a bias court, and allow him to play. Will they end up having, if he plays all 12 games and maybe an NCAA championship game in the SEC? Maybe he goes to the play. Are all those things going to be vacated? Could they win a national title and have it vacated? I don't know. We're just going to keep our eyes on March to see what happens in the Cortez Braham. I mentioned the Olympics a little bit earlier. Women's figure skating is taking place tonight. So the American women, 3 ladies, make up what some are saying is the strongest women's figure team in the history of the American Olympics. 3 of them. All could win the gold, they say. One of them, remember, she was a U.S. champion at the age of 13 and then got burned out and retired and has come back. Her name is Lou. Her last name is Lou. She's got a whole different look now than when she was 13. She's the one, if you'll see the picture, she's got different shades of color in her hair, and they look like they're striped. It's an interesting look. So if you're into it, and like my wife is really into the figure skating, you are going to be glued to it tonight. Last thing. I can remember years ago, I did a segment on MMA and boxing with the late, great Dave Ferguson, who passed away at way too early an age. He had all those jiu-jitsu and boxing stores, for lack of a better term, studios, gyms, all across the city. And he would come in, and at about that time, Ronda Rousey came into fame. If you don't know who she is, she actually won an Olympic medal at the Games in 2008 in judo and jiu-jitsu. So she was an accomplished fighter in that skill. She became the biggest woman UCF or UFC, excuse me, I was Central Florida, UFC fighter in their history. She was the biggest woman star. She defended her title 6 times, and then she got upset, and then she lost again. Then she retired to go to the WWE, where she made a whole bunch of money, and she's been in a bunch of movies. She's coming back at age 39, but it's kind of a different fight. She's going to fight Gina Carano, who's now 43. And she's a former fighter who retired and became an actress. She's been in many movies. So this will be kind of interesting to watch, to see if Ronda Rousey comes back. Remember how quickly she used to, I guess she would get people. She had a maneuver, got them down because she was a jiu-jitsu person, and then would choke them out, or they would give up. And then she met somebody who was better than her at that point. So Anyway, we'll see what that is all about. I'm kind of looking forward to that. In the meantime, I already promoted. Always fun to talk to our friend Lynn Alford, who not only is the head of the Amateur Sports Hall of Fame, he's also on the committee for the Memphis Sports Hall of Fame. So you are definitely all about sports history in this town. You got a brand new class that will be inducted on March the 16th at the Hilton at 6 o'clock, and there's some pretty big names here. Let's start, Lynn, with Rachel Heck, one of the great stories. She was a state champion in the Memphis area at a very early age. It was well before her senior year. Went to Stanford, won like her first tournament. She was in the women's U.S. Amateur. She won a national title at Stanford. She decided she was not going to the LPGA. She was always interested in like the SEALs, like what Tiger Woods did. And I believe she has joined the military. She's an interesting story. Her dad's a doctor. I think her sister, who was also a great golfer, is also a doctor. This is an incredible family. She's going to be one of the first up on the docket on March the 16th. Good morning, Lynn. Tell me about that and this whole deal.
Well, good morning, Wolo. Appreciate you giving us some time this morning again. It's hard to believe it's that time of the year again, March the 16th. Yeah, Rachel is, as a matter of fact, she will be the youngest inductee that we've ever had. And going back, we've been doing this for 55 years. We started in 1970 is when our organization first started. But Rachel, yeah, she's only 24. So we had to look at our bylaws because she did not go pro. You know, everyone was assuming that she would go pro because of all of her tremendous accomplishments. Starting, you know, back at St. Agnes, where she went to high school, then Stanford, All-American, and all of the amateur events that she won. Unbelievable. There's just no way that we could even begin to mention all the things that she did. But she made it about face. She has decided. Yeah, she's in the Air Force, and I believe she's a second lieutenant out in California. I believe she's still going to play some amateur, just strictly amateur, just play some, but not nearly as much as she did. So it'll be interesting to keep up with her. As her career, as she got, yeah, she's only 24. That's Rachel Heck.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't she win a state title at St. Agnes as like an 8th grader? Something crazy like
maybe
that?
So. I wouldn't doubt it. We had pages and pages of all of her accomplishments, and it's just, so Rachel, yeah, she will be the youngest that we've had inducted.
I do believe our guy Ted Butler, by the way, I believe he was her teacher at one point.
Is that right? Ted Butler?
Yeah.
He's inducted. I'll tell you what, well, let me give you, first of all, for the listeners, our website, and then we'll give it again before we get off the air, because you can get much more information on our website, and we just don't have time this morning, but you can look and see who all of our inductees are for this year. You can look on our website and go back. We've got pictures of banquets for the last 10 years, and then we've got everyone that's ever been inducted going back to the 1970, which is well over 800 people that have been inducted in a wide variety of sports and people who have contributed in different ways. There are some tremendous stories out there, what some people in Memphis have accomplished that most people in Memphis really don't know much about. And that's what we're trying to do on our website. Is there's a lot in there about our history, where we started, and things of that nature that people can go to if they're interested. And also, if the other thing is to buy tickets for our banquet, you can go to the website and you can purchase tickets on the website, and it's very very easily done. So that's
well. What is the website's
all right,
address?
That is www.memphisportshalloffame.org. www.memphisportshalloffame.org. And you find that pretty interesting.
Okay, that's pretty simple too. memphisportshalloffame.org. All one word.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. Let me ask you about Ben Johnson, manager of the Memphis Redbirds. You're inducting him in.
Very interesting story, and some people may know of him simply because he's the manager, or the coach rather, of the Memphis Redbirds, and may see him at that. But the story is really a Memphis story. He doesn't qualify for if he was just the coach of the Redbirds, or even if he just played pro ball, which he did for 10 years, played minor league for 10 and 2 years in the big leagues. But Ben started out, I believe, at age 8 in the Memphis Tigers baseball organization here in Memphis. I think his dad, Larry, was the coach. No, Larry went real well, played basket softball against Larry years ago. But Ben played in the Tiger organization up through age, I believe, through age 16.
Was that Keith Hagen's organization?
Well, Keith started that organization way back in the
Right.
late 60s, early 70s. He played for Johnny Beard. Johnny Beard was one of his coaches. Keith was one of Ben's coaches. As a matter of fact, Al Woods, who's being inducted, was one of Ben's coaches. But Ben played in the Tigers, but then he also played with Phil Clark, who was a member. Played for Phil Clark out at Germantown, and then he was drafted by the Cardinals out of high school, and then came back and eventually worked his way up to where he was coaching, and now he's back in Memphis and lives here, of course, during the season. Lives in Arizona during the off season. But quite a Memphis story there with Ben Johnson.
Oh, and then Al Woods, who you just mentioned, his coach was his coach.
Yeah, Al
in too.
I think Al's coached in the Germantown. The Germantown Youth Organization. He's coached for like 16 years, I believe, or so. But now Al is the head of baseball operations at the University of Memphis. He's been out there he's there with Coach Reiser now. I think he's been out there for about 10 years. So he's go back a long way as far as Memphis baseball history. And see, we receive all these letters of recommendation, the newspaper articles and things. It's amazing some of these letters that we read about the letters of recommendation on these people, the things that they have accomplished.
All right, here's another interesting name to me. This is obviously going to be posthumously Desmond Merriweather.
Desmond Merriweather, yeah.
He was the guy that got Penny into coaching.
Well, Desmond was back in Northampton area, coaching youth basketball at the community center there, I believe. But then he went at Leicester. He coached Leicester Middle School and very successful schools there. And then he was doing extremely well. And but then he got ill, and before he died, he asked Penny. Penny took over the team for him and stayed with it, and that's kind of how Penny got back into coaching in East High School and so forth. Quite a story there. I think there'll be a lot of Desmond's Northampton people. I think will be there on the 16th. We've heard from them.
And then one last guy I got to bring up. He's going in as a personal contributor. He knows more about Memphis sports. He and John Ganazzo probably are the two biggest sports historians. Of course, Jimmy Ogle is just a historian. He knows everything about Memphis. You wouldn't believe his vast knowledge, and you are going to recognize him.
Yeah, Jimmy, a lot of people out there know Jimmy. There's no way I could describe Jimmy in the time we have here. But, yeah, he knows more about the Memphis history. He was our Shelby County historian. And he knows more about the history, the geography, I'd say even the architecture, the neighborhoods, the streets, the politics, the personalities, you name it, about Memphis, and he's got the history of it. And now one of the he's going in as a personal contributor. Some people don't know, but Jimmy, he was second team All-State in basketball at MUS.
I believe he holds the record for most assists at MUS and maybe at Rhodes College too.
And maybe he as my understanding, I think he had a scholarship offer perhaps maybe UT, but his dad got ill and he chose to stay here and played. Well, I'd say for Rhodes, but it was Southwestern back then, and so then from there he worked at the Memphis Park Commission for a number of years, a number of different departments, and he worked with different things for the Liberty Bowl and eventually on the stat crew as far as for University of Memphis, the Grizzlies. I mean, just on and on. But yeah,
he definitely had done little stats for me too. He is one of the most unique individuals you will ever find. I'm so glad he's getting recognized. Lynn,
let me say one thing. Yeah. Go to our website if you can. One thing that I would mention real quickly, we've had we've had some people who have passed away this past year. Some of you know some of these folks. Terry Tippett, Mike Cody, the runner. Phil Clark, Larry Ray, Harry Cagle, and then just recently, the last few days, Ron Kreskin passed away. So,
Ron Kruskin.
That's what. And we had our meeting last night, and Jimmy spoke. Jimmy spoke at our members meeting. We had to put the hook on him though to get him.
I believe that.
But we had two members there last night. One of them was 92, and one of them was age 91.
Wow.
Still active in our organization.
That's great. That is great. Can't wait for that date. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to talking all about all of these great people. And that is March the 16th, 6 o'clock at the Hilton. It's very affordable and worth it. And to get your tickets, go to MemphisSportsHallOfFame.org. It's that simple.
Can I give the website? We've got time for the website one more time.
I'm giving it right now. I'm giving it right now.
MemphisSportsHallOfFame.org. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks,
All right.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Wolo.
That's Lynn Alford, who is the head of that Memphis Sports Hall of Fame. I hadn't realized it was around since 70. Wow. A lot of years. That is incredible, and a lot of great people. I'm looking forward to that March 16th date. We got to take a break. As always, Tuesdays mean Ron Higgins and Jason Munz. They both come your way. Ron steps it up in just a minute.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Ken Garland, you are in your 72nd year of business. Your son William is now joining you. What do you think is the key to your longevity in the building business?
My dad started the business in 1965, and I think being on the job sites daily and being accessible to homeowners has been a key to our success.
You guys have a work ethic, as you like to say. You're not hiring people to be on the site. You guys are there every day.
We interact with the subcontractors multiple times a day on each job site. I think that has been a key, as well as using the same subcontractors 20 plus years in most cases.
When you talk about materials, what is the first thing you're thinking about when somebody comes to you to build a home?
We're just trying to meet the expectations of the client and the homeowner and the architect and give them what their dream is.
When you get a Ken Garland home, what do you guarantee?
We'll be there after the job is finished. We're still accessible to all our clients.
Now I need to know, how do I get a hold of Ken Garland?
You can reach us at kengarland.com.
When life crashes into you, literally, NST Law doesn't just show up with a briefcase. They show up with heart. They sit with families after devastating wrecks, look them in the eye, and say, "We've got you." No scripts, no legal jargon, just real people fighting for real justice. If someone turned your life upside down, NST helps you stand back up. They've been doing this for over 35 years and have won billions for their clients. NST is the way to go. Call 683-7000 or go to nstlaw.com. Air. We breathe it naturally. Simple, right? Not so fast. The air you breathe could be hazardous to your health. Don't guess. Be sure with a phone call to the Memphis Mold Inspector, the only licensed mold assessor in the Mid-South. Call the Memphis Mold Inspector to check the air quality inside your home and office. Protect babies, pets, new homes, old homes, employees, friends, loved ones, and you. Just call 901-292-7788 for clean air and peace of mind. 901-292-7788 for the Memphis Mold Inspector. Maria's Cantina in South Haven is not your average Tex-Mex joint because they're serving up Mexican with a twist. Maria's Scratch Kitchen is the most creative and diverse menu around. Beyond the traditional huge quesadillas, chimichangas, and fajitas, Maria serves up hand-rolled Latin egg rolls, Cajun and Creole items like catfish, gumbo, and boudin balls, as well as the best sandwiches and 8-ounce burgers in town. Wash it all down with a house margarita for only $5.50 and happy hour every day till 6. MariasCantina.com, 6717 Airways, Mexican with a twist.
Encore flavor, Corky's barbecue. We're cooking it up, down home way. Hickory smoke flavor like the good old days.
Hey y'all, Jimmy Stovall here with Corky's Barbecue. Catering is our specialty. Memphians have trusted Corky's to cater their events for 40 years because we make it easy for you and delicious for your guests. Whether it's 50 people or a crowd of thousands, our experienced team comes to your location, sets up, serves, and ensures everyone enjoys a Corky's all-you-can-eat barbecue buffet starting at only $7.99 per person. You can't beat it. With 40 years of experience, it's easy to see why customers choose Corky's time and time again for all of their catering needs. Visit Corky'sBBQ.com to book us for your next party.
Encore flavor, Corky's barbecue.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home at Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Sitting here in the Family Leisure Studio as we get set to bring in Ron Higgins. I'm just going to remind you that floor model sale still going on. It's time to make room, so they all got to go. There's hundreds of display models that are right there with deep discounts. So deep, I can't even tell you how cheap it might be. You need to go see Billy or see Lindsay, the owner, and find out just how deep the discounts will be on all the in-stock hot tubs, swim spas, even the cold plunges. If you've been dreaming about a spa, now's the time to get it at Family Leisure, I-40 and Whidden Road. On Tuesdays, we always head to Baton Rouge, and our SEC historian, Ron Higgins, standing by. I just got to ask you this question. This thing is bugging the heck out of me. What I witnessed in Logan, Utah, I mean, clearly Utah State was a better team than Memphis. They've got a team that is a top 25 team. They may make some noise the way they played together in the NCAA tournament, but at the end of the game, they ran up the score in the last minute and a half or two after the Tigers had actually brought in their bench with about 4 minutes to go, and they had a slam dunk, a windmill with 2 seconds to go. The sportsmanship was classless, and the coach then basically lied and said, well, we had to run up the score in order to get a break because we're a mid-major and the Power Four teams, they don't have to do what we do, but we've got to run the score up. You buying that? And I got to ask you this. Have we just, in sports today, in this new generation, do we just consider sportsmanship a weakness?
Well, this is the Utah State deal. First of all, how bad you beat a team doesn't matter. I mean, in the tournament, in the whole tournament budget, that doesn't matter. The win matters, okay? The win matters. That's it.
To be fair, to a certain extent, there is
but
margin of victory is a small, but it is a tangent. It is something used.
It's a small thing, but my God, I mean, how bad do you need to beat a team? I mean, what was the final margin of victory? Like 25 or 30?
It was 25, and it would probably have been about 18 or 20, somewhere in there.
So what's wrong with 20-point win?
I don't know.
Really, that's ridiculous. I mean, that's inexcusable. That's a bunch of that's a coach who's lying through his teeth, man. As far as sportsmanship, a weakness, I don't think it's a weakness to. To you shake a guy's hand after a game, or tell somebody a good game or a nice play. I mean, the players who have no problem doing that. Even when I played, if a guy made a nice shot, I'd tell him, "That's a hell of a shot, man. Nice shot." It doesn't mean I hate the guy. I want to shoot one on him. I want to get back at him. But I think that's going to because there's so much yapping, there's so much trash talking, there's so much stuff in social media that it's almost like it's a theatrical show to do that. I have no problem with referees shutting stuff down. When you start seeing the yapping, they'll call it technical. They go, well, why? Because you're sitting there, okay, you dunked on the guy, and you're going to stand over and do a mug face at him, like, how you like that? that's the kind of stuff that starts fights eventually. So I have no problem with referees controlling games about trash talking and lack of sportsmanship. No problem at all.
I don't have a problem with referees doing that. I think because margin of victory is a small but still a barometric use, a figure that is equated with where you might end up getting a seed. It does give license. I don't believe that if they had won by 18 as opposed to 25 that it would have made any difference in the Utah State resume. But it does sadden me that we don't really value sportsmanship, I don't think, in sports society anymore. New poll out. Michigan, number 1. Boy, has Dusty May done a good job there in Ann Arbor. Here's the SEC. Florida 12, Vandy 19, Arkansas 20, Alabama not in the coaches poll but in the AP at 25, Tennessee and Kentucky also receiving votes. So only 3 SEC teams in the coaches poll, 4 in the AP. I don't know about Tennessee and Kentucky. Do you think they should be top 25 teams?
No.
Is this right? Okay, so you think the 3 or 4 is the correct thing for the SEC?
Yeah, I think the 3 that probably in both polls, those are the 3 best teams. They are. So those are the 3 best teams. I mean, in this league this year, Florida's really come on strong. It was, they got one all last year, and obviously they're getting their act together. Arkansas's been really good too. All year.
I love that. I love Acuff. I think you got to have a great point guard to be a contender to win a national title, and they've got that. I don't know if they have enough pieces around them after that. They've got some nice pieces, don't get me wrong. I love Brazil. Billy Richmond helps them off the bench. Wagner's a good player. I'm not sure this team, though, can win a national title. Do you think any of those schools, the 3 that you say are legit, could they win a national title?
No, but Florida might go the furthest because they've been in this thing and they understand what it takes to win it. And Arkansas, I think they get to maybe an Elite 8, Sweet 16. The Sweet 16 for sure. I think all those teams are Sweet 16 teams. But you're right. The whole thing about all of Cal's best teams, they've had a really good point guard. Just think about it. I mean, really, all his best teams have had a great point guard. And you can go with Derrick Rose, for example. I mean, and that guy, Acuff, is really, really, really good. Like I said, we saw that last week. Yeah, I really think he's the player of the year and the freshman of the year myself. I don't think anybody in that league is better than him.
I won't disagree with that. Now, Tennessee's got some nice pieces. They got a good point guard. They got a pretty decent center. But I don't know if there's enough people around them to make any kind of big noise.
Yeah, they're kind of flighty this year. They're not steady. They're really good freshman forward, 6'10" guy. He'll go in the draft probably pretty fairly, 1 to 15 probably. But they just haven't, against really good teams they haven't played, they've gotten beat. Most of the good teams they've played in the league have handled them, but they could get their act together. But I'll just see the 3 SEC teams that are ranked. I think that's the way it's going to stay the rest of the year, and I think those are the 3 teams that have the furthest chance of going the furthest.
What is your take on the job that Pope has done at Kentucky? I mean, they had a very poor start to this year, but it seems as if they've righted the ship. He did come in after Cal and had a pretty good run last year. Is he doing a good job?
I think he is. I mean, that's a hard job. Everybody knows that. Everybody expects perfection, and like everybody expects the Alabama football coach to win every game. I think he's done a pretty good job so far. I mean, all things considered, they did have a really slow start, and then he got they beat LSU and got on a run, and for the most part, they've been, I think, pretty good. They'll get in the tournament, and again, once you get in the tournament, it all depends on your draw and who you play. I mean, you might get a good draw and feel like you can, get to the Sweet 16. Most of the time, I really think, I know people think a successful year is nothing less than getting to the Final Four. I really think it's an accomplishment to get to the Sweet 16. it's hard to get past the first weekend. It's exceptionally hard to get to the Elite Eight. I think teams who get to the Sweet 16, there's something to be said about those teams that they were good enough to get there, because it's really, really hard once you get in the tournament play.
All right, one other national story, and that is at Kansas State. I know it's not the SEC, but I know you've got a take on this. Jerome Tang got fired. This comes after he went berserk, after they lost a game and they didn't really show up at all. And he said they don't belong in these uniforms. They were embarrassing. He had them practice the next morning at 6 a.m. He took their names off the back of the jerseys. Then they went and lost a place where they were big underdogs. And then Jerome Tang got fired, and he got fired for cause. And part of the cause is that he was an embarrassment to the school. Maybe it was from the tirade that he had, because they're trying to get out, like they owe him $18 million or something like that, and they're trying to get out of that. But they fired him for cause for that. Give me your take on that whole matter.
Well, first of all, they're just full of crap, because honestly, they're just trying to find a way to get out. They're paying all that money. I really think now the Tennessee women's coach did it a couple of weeks ago, and somebody else did it. I have no problem, as they used to say back in the day, with a coach throwing his team under the bus, because they are getting paid. Do your job. Getting paid. Sorry, you're getting paid. Now, everybody says, well, the coach recruited him. Yeah, the coach recruited him. The coach is trying to coach him up. And if they go out there and just quit, and you've seen quit, I've seen teams quit. The Tennessee women's coach said her team quit. They have a right to be called out. And if I don't care if these kids are 18 or 19 now, they're getting paid. All of them have agents. All of them have social media directors, probably. They have an entourage supporting them and get their NIL money. So I have no problem with coaches now calling out a team and players.
Well, that is exactly what our friend Andy Kennedy did, okay? Let me give you a quote. I guess this was after they lost to Tulane. I'll give you the quote, and I think we've lost Ron here. The quote from Andy was this: "These are college scholarship players that are making more money than most people in this room. Is it too much to ask for you to make a layup? This is bozo land." That's the quote, unquote, from Andy Kennedy. You're right. These guys are making more money than anybody who's covering them. I can promise you that. And some of these guys, I believe here's one unintended consequence of NIL. The will or the passion for winning has gone out the window. That will and passion has transferred to collecting a paycheck.
I agree. That's why I always tell people in recruiting now is, back in the day in recruiting, it was about, you can recruit a guy for 4 years and establish a relationship. You can do that now, but the guy walks in with a bigger bag of money, so what?
Exactly.
That's all it comes down to is money now. So I have no problem with coaches calling out players, and honestly, even media too. Back in the, it used to be if you criticized any kind of player in college, I mean, you get so much backlash from readers and stuff like, he's only a college kid, blah blah blah. Now, they don't have any kind of problem doing it because they're getting paid a lot of money. They're just like a pro player. They're getting paid.
Last thing, real quick. We just learned that there still could be ramifications for the University of Memphis, financial, vacating of games and numbers, because they played a receiver who came to Memphis from Nevada named Cortez Bryant. They played him last year. He had gained eligibility through the court. Memphis saw that and took him out of the portal after he gained eligibility. Now the NCAA is saying, well, he got it through the court. We don't recognize that. You guys played him. There could be ramifications. They're going to go to court. There's oral arguments coming up on March the 13th, I believe is the date. If that's true, what's going to happen to Ole Miss down the road with Trinity Chambliss?
That could happen to them, but maybe Ole Miss has a better lawyer. I mean, or more favorable judge. But yeah, I think if the NC wants to bite back, it can try to fight back now. They've been on their back for so long, getting hammered. Maybe they're trying to fight back. Maybe they are.
I guess it's endless. The things that can happen after the fact are all up to the NCAA. All they've done is lost in court. But, if you belong to an association and they have rules and you go before them twice and the judgment is, no, we're not accepting this, and then you go to the court to overturn it, it's kind of crazy. It has taken the association that you agreed to abide by the rules, it has taken their legislative power out. And I don't really know what truly the answer is. Ron Higgins, as always, I appreciate your time. We'll do this again next Tuesday.
All right, well, I'll see you.
Take care, buddy. That's Ron Higgins, our SEC historian. Coming up in just 1 minute, we'll head downtown. Not downtown, we'll head to South Haven. And our good friend on the Tigers, we got lots to talk about. That is Jason Munz, and he's next.
Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Available locally on your radio dial as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, it's easy to stay tuned to Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
I can't tell you the number of times I've heard people tell me that they wanted to wait until spring to put their home on the market. This is Sheldon Rosengarten at Marks Bensdorf Realtors, and think about it. In March, April, when the azaleas bloom, so do the real estate signs. More competition. We've been in an unusual market in the last year, and to get an edge on other homes on the market, make sure and talk to 2 to 3 real estate brokers and make sure that I am one of them. I've developed a highly successful strategic marketing program that can mean the difference in what you make and when. From the preparation before you go on the market to the presentation and keeping you informed every step of the way, it's rare that we cannot provide results. That's why people often say, when you want the job done, call Sheldon at 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com. Write it down or call me now, memphisrelocate.com or 483-0546.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Chris Price here with Metro Builders, your roofing and restoration resource. With single-digit temperatures and ice moving in, frozen pipes and ice dams don't give you much time to react. A busted pipe can flood walls, ceilings, and floors in minutes, and the real damage is often hidden behind drywall, insulation, and cabinets. That trapped moisture can lead to mold fast. Right now, Metro Builders Memphis is delivering immediate emergency water mitigation and response day or night. We can stop the water, document the damage, and help prevent long-term issues before they spread. If you see water stains, sagging ceilings, or active leaks, don't wait. Call us before mold spores spread. Call me, 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717. Metro Builders, your roofing and restoration resource. Metro Builders, we don't just build, we build world class. Book us online at metrobuildersmemphis.com. metrobuildersmemphis.com.
I have so many people tell me they hear my ads on this station and that they want to know if I'm really as bad a golfer as everyone says. This is Sheldon Rosengarten with Marks Bensdorf Realtors, and yes, I hate to say I am. I wish I were in my 90s because I could then tell people I shoot my age. But being a bad golfer is not terrible because I devote so much of my time to selling homes to keep my clients happy. Over the many years in the real estate business, I developed a highly successful strategic marketing program, not merely a listing program. Using preparation, presentation, and proper pricing, it works. If you're thinking of selling, talk to 2 to 3 real estate brokers and make sure that I am one of them. Find out why people often say that when you want the job done, call Sheldon. That's Sheldon Rosengarten, 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com. Do it now. Sheldon, 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
All we hear is Radio Gaga, Radio Gaga.
Welcome in. Final segment of the Tuesday, Fat Tuesday. Happy Mardi Gras to everybody. Let's head to South Haven. Our good friend Jason Munn standing by. We shall chat with him about what was a very, very difficult road trip. That is for sure. Last time we talked, Tigers were getting ready to go to Denton. They had looked really good, knocking off UAB on the road, knocking off Charlotte in a huge, huge way. They go to Denton. They foul, and there's 41 free throws, and they blow that game, and you're scratching your head because everything was set up. They could be in first place. Everything was set up. Then they go and they play great for 16 minutes in Logan, Utah, one of the great places to play. They do that without two key players who were sent home from Dallas after they lost to North Texas, and then get blown out the rest of the way. And there's some very poor sportsmanship by Utah State at the end of the game, and a head coach that probably doesn't know the real realities of the way college basketball works, or he's just a flat-out liar, one of the two. And Jason Munns, I know you were watching all this along the way. A very interesting, crazy, sort of depressing, if you're a Tiger fan, weekend. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, it was not ideal for the Tigers. Just everything, the way it all unfolded last week, it was pretty disappointing. And even more disappointing given some of the stuff that happened afterwards, after the game in North Texas, as you mentioned. And I mean, I think I even leaned over during the North Texas game and said this to you, but like, pretty much every team in the American continues to leave the door open for Memphis to walk through it, and they just won't. They just have not been able to do it, and yet they are still in a tie for fourth place, and with two other teams, by the way, that they own tiebreakers over. Like, if the season ended today, Memphis would be the 4th seed in the conference tournament, which is pretty remarkable given the fact.
Forget that. They're a half a game out of being the triple bye. A half a game. That's it.
Yes. There are three teams ahead of Memphis in the standings right now. South Florida, who's in first place, and then Tulsa and Wichita, who are tied for second, who are only a half game ahead of Memphis, as you just mentioned. And yes, like, it's so from that standpoint, despite everything that happened last week, everything is still right there in front of Memphis. There's 6 games left. 2 of them are against South Florida, who's, as I mentioned, in first place. So, and Penny talked about this on his radio show last night. Literally, all they have to do is win. From now on, all they have to do is win, and they're right there where they want to be. I think South Florida would still have to. I think South Florida's 2.5 games up on Memphis right now, so they would probably still need to lose one more time Well, actually, no, that wouldn't be right. If
they're actually 2 games out. No, you're right. 2.5. I'm sorry, 2.5. You're right.
But if Memphis
that should be 1.5. They should have lost that dang game to FAU.
They should have. They wound up winning in overtime. But no. So South Florida has 3 losses right now, and Memphis has 5. If Memphis runs the table, that means they will have beaten South Florida twice, which means that South Florida would have 5 losses. Memphis would also have 5 losses, and Memphis would obviously own the tiebreaker. So the point is, if Memphis just wins from now on, they can still win the American Conference Championship.
Now, let's be honest. Do you think there's any likelihood, considering I don't believe those 2 players will be back. Quante Berry is going to be back, so they were down 3 on this road trip. Although actually Zach Davis did play in the game in Denton, but they were down 3 guys for a really good team in Utah State. Now, I think Utah State would have won that game anyway. But Do you really believe? I mean, I could see the Tigers actually going 4-1 if everything worked out. I don't see how they're going to win at South Florida because this team may be better than them. They've got pieces now. They got a shooter. They got a point guard. They've got a center who might be the player of the year. And they got two. I mean, they got 5 guys that are really good.
The deck is certainly stacked high against Memphis because South Florida's built very, very well, as you just pointed out. Like, they've got 2 guys who are shooting over 38% three. The big man Isaiah Nelson is if the season ended today, he's probably your player of the year. And like that South Florida team beat Utah State. Now it was in Tampa,
right?
But that South Florida team beat that really good Utah State team. And so, no, I do not think that Memphis is going to run the table. As a matter of fact, one of the questions in my mailbag that was published that I published this morning was somebody wanted to know what I thought Memphis's record would be through these next 6 games, and honestly, I think it's going to be like 3-3. So yeah, like it's extremely unlikely that Memphis is going to run the table. Now,
hold on for 1 second. You just said something that's interesting. If they go 3-3, they would end up 1 game under 500 for the year. I cannot remember the last time a Memphis team was under 500.
I mean, listen, we're 25 games in, and they're under 500.
I understand that. I can't remember the last time that occurred either. But finishing a year under 500, when was the last? That's a story in its own right. When was the last time that occurred?
I'd have to look it up. But here's another thing that that occurred to me as I was looking at the standings yesterday. So Memphis is in 4. Like, if the season ended today, Memphis would be the 4 seed. Of the 10 teams that, if the season ended today, would go to Birmingham, of the 10 teams that would go to the conference tournament, Memphis would be the only team out of all 10 with an overall under 500 record. Memphis is 12-13 as we sit here today. They are the only team in the top 10 in the American standings with an overall under 500 record.
Wow. Well, they're the only ones that played any kind of decent non-conference too.
Yeah,
if we're going to be honest, that is incredible. So let's just think about this for a second. I don't think they're going to win in South Florida, to be totally honest, if I'm going to be objective. But I think they could probably beat South Florida at home. I'm going to say, let's just say they win all their home games. That's Wichita State, South Florida. Who else is in there?
At home is UAB.
UAB. So they're going to win. I'm going to say they're going to win all 3 of those. And then I think they can win at East Carolina. And then they have at Tulane, which I really believe they're a better team than Tulane.
So do I.
So I think it's capable. I think they're capable with Barry coming back, and I'm going to say addition by subtraction, because I'm not sure Hakeem and Davis weren't just disrupting factors. So let's just say that is the case. I say there's a chance that they end up going 5-1, even 4-2. At least they get to 500 or over 500. Right. But I don't think they'll be any worse than 4-2. How's that? Now that's not going to get them a bye, but so they'll have to play Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to win the tournament, which is doable, not easy. And I'm not sure that they're capable of doing that. We'll get a better sense when we see what the matchup looks like with South Florida.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough matchup. Now, the one thing about South Florida, and we're talking about obviously the game there this Thursday. So South Florida is 10-2 at home, which is a really good record.
Yeah.
However, those 2 losses have all come in their last 6 home games. So they're 4-2 at home in their last 6 home games. The point that I'm making is that how are they playing at home right now? And or lately, more recently, and it's not been overly good. They lost. They've got those 2 home losses, and I'm looking it up real quick because I forgot it off the top of my head. They lost at home on January 18th to Wichita State, and they lost at home on January 4th to UAB.
I don't know how they lost to UAB. I really don't.
They've won their last 2 home games, or their last 3 home games. They beat FAU, UTSA, and Tulsa at home. But before that, they had lost to UAB and Wichita State at home.
They're not going to take Memphis lightly. They're coming for bear. By the way, and Landon Schmidt, I thank you for this. The last time the Tigers were under 500 for the whole season was 99 2000. So that's basically 26 years ago.
Yes. The good part of that is that it wouldn't be the first time this millennium or this century, that it's happened. So there won't be that like qualifier that can be thrown around. But it's been a really, really long time. It's been basically an entire generation that since it's happened. But no, it's just Memphis has, to this point, underachieved by a pretty wide margin, and yet they can
hard
still
to argue that. Hard to argue that. Last thing, we only got about a minute.
Go ahead.
The discussion about a dire need for a GM. How big of a role is the GM? How important is that? Does Penny need it?
Yes, for sure. It's just the game is different now. Either Penny needs a GM, a dedicated, full-fledged general manager, or he needs to be a more active participant in the process. And it's hard, it's a hard thing for any head coach to do. You're already stretched pretty thin. Like, you got a lot on your shoulders already, and then to add that, it's a pretty rough proposition. But the game has changed. You cannot ignore the fact that the game has changed, and it's imperative that to avoid being left further behind, that they make some sort of adjustment in that way.
My friend, I will see you in Tampa on Thursday.
Yes.
I know you're probably coming a day of game, correct?
You know it. You're correct.
You're always playing with fire, my friend. You're always playing. What time is that game? Memphis time?
Memphis time, 6 o'clock.
So that's 7 o'clock Eastern time. All right.
Yep.
We'll see. We'll get our sense of the way this is going to finish, because here's the way Memphis has been all year. It's like they're got so much. Oh, this team's coming together. Oh no, another step back. Oh wait, they've got it now. Oh no. Will there be another? Oh, they finally got it together. It was subtraction, addition by subtraction. We'll see. We'll see starting Thursday in Tampa. Thank you, my friend.
All right, thanks, Wolo.
That is Jason Munz from the Commercial Appeal. That will do it for us. Johnny Radio's next. We got our usual show tomorrow, the Business of Sports with Joe. We got the Roundtable, and we've got Dennis Philippi. That'll be our Wednesday. You've got Johnny's Tuesday coming right around the corner. Happy Mardi Gras.